my stepmother kicks me out over worthless barn inheritance, what I found there saved me. The rain started before they lowered my father's coffin into the ground. Perfect timing. Dad always said funerals looked fake in sunshine. I stood beside the grave, soaked to the skin, while my stepmother, Vanessa, held a black umbrella over herself and her son, Trevor, like they were royalty visiting peasants. Neither of them cried. Not once. Trevor spent most of the service checking football scores on his phone. Vanessa only cried when people were looking directly at her. The second the last guest left, she walked up beside me, perfume mixing with wet dirt and cemetery flowers. "Well," she sighed dramatically, "I suppose we should discuss living arrangements." I blinked. Living arrangements? The house is mine now. I stared at her. Dad would never... Oh, please. She pulled folded papers from her purse. Your father updated the will 6 months ago. Trevor smirked beside her. Something cold slid into my stomach. Dad had cancer. Stage 4 pancreatic. 6 months ago, he could barely hold a pen steady.
Vanessa handed me the documents like she was dropping trash into a bin. The house, savings, vehicles, and business ownership transfer to me. Her lips curled slightly. Trevor gets your father's truck. My throat tightened. And me? Vanessa laughed. You get the barn. For a second, I honestly thought she was joking. Our old barn? I asked. The collapsing fire hazard behind the property, yes. She shrugged. Frankly, your father was sentimental about ridiculous things. Trevor snorted loudly. That thing's probably worth more as firewood. I looked past them toward the distant tree line, where the old red barn sat crooked against the gray sky. Dad loved that barn. When I was little, he taught me how to ride a bike beside it. During storms, we'd sit inside listening to rain hammer the roof while he told ridiculous ghost stories. After Mom died, it became the only place where he smiled again. Vanessa interrupted my thoughts.
You'll need to leave the house by Friday. What? I'm renovating. She smiled sweetly. And before you ask, no, you cannot stay in the barn. Trevor laughed harder at that. I looked at both of them and realized something horrifying. They'd planned this before Dad even died. The grief inside me turned hot. Not sadness anymore. Humiliation. Anger. You think Dad wanted this? Vanessa stepped closer. I think your father was tired of financially supporting a 27-year-old waitress with student debt and emotional baggage. That hit exactly where she wanted it to. Because it was true. I did have debt. I did move back home after my breakup destroyed my savings. And Dad had been helping me survive. Vanessa leaned in slightly. If I were you, I'd sell the barn immediately. Maybe someone will pay enough for the wood to cover first month's rent somewhere. Then she walked away. Just like that. Like she'd finished discussing weather. That night, I slept in my car outside the property because Vanessa changed the house locks before sunset. At 2 a.m., freezing and furious, I finally grabbed the old barn key from my glove compartment. Dad gave it to me when I turned 16. Someday this might matter, he'd said. At the time, I thought he meant emotionally. Turns out, he might have meant literally. The barn creaked when I opened it. Dust floated through moonlight, slicing between broken boards. The place smelled like oil, hay, rust, and childhood memories. I almost cried right there. Instead, I walked deeper inside. Old tools lined the walls exactly where Dad always kept them. Workbench near the back, fishing rods overhead. Then I noticed something strange.
The concrete floor beneath the workbench looked newer than the rest. My pulse slowed. Dad hated replacing anything. I crouched down and brushed dirt away. There was a metal ring embedded in the concrete. A hidden hatch. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it. I grabbed the ring and pulled. At first, nothing happened. Then the hatch suddenly cracked open with a loud scrape. Cold air rushed upward from below, and beneath the barn was a staircase. Before I tell you what I found under that barn, tell me, what time is it for you right now? And where are you watching from? I'm curious to know. And if you've ever had a family member betray you over money, hit like and subscribe, because this story gets far crazier from here. The staircase groaned under my weight as I descended into darkness. Each step felt unreal. Dad never mentioned anything beneath the barn. Not once. At the bottom, my phone flashlight revealed a narrow underground room with concrete walls and shelves running from floor to ceiling. I stopped breathing for a second. The shelves were packed. Metal boxes, binders, old photographs, stacks of documents tied with rubber bands. And sitting in the center of the room, a massive antique safe. What the hell? My voice echoed softly. I moved closer, pulse hammering. The safe looked ancient but expensive, nearly waist-high with brass detailing across the front. Dad definitely didn't buy this recently, which meant one terrifying thing. This room existed long before Vanessa came into our lives. Suddenly, memories started clicking together. Dad disappearing into the barn late at night, the way he always carried that same leather notebook, how angry Vanessa became any time he spent hours out there. She knew something existed. Maybe not exactly what, but something. I turned toward the shelves first. One binder had my name written across the front. My hands shook opening it. Inside were bank statements, investment records, property papers, life insurance documents, page after page after page. I stared in disbelief. Dad had been secretly building accounts under my name for years. Not thousands, hundreds of thousands. Tears instantly filled my eyes. Not because of the money. Because he knew. He knew Vanessa would try to leave me with nothing. Even dying, he protected me. Then I noticed an envelope taped inside the binder. For Ella. Open alone. I ripped it open immediately. Inside was a handwritten letter. Sweetheart, if you're reading this, Vanessa has shown you exactly who she really is. I'm sorry. I should have handled this sooner, but I was afraid she'd destroy everything before I could secure it. The barn was never worthless. Neither are you. Everything down here legally belongs to you alone. Trust nobody until you contact Walter Green. The number is inside the notebook. And Ella, do not let Vanessa into this room. My chest tightened painfully. Dad knew. Every bit of it. I wiped tears from my face and searched the shelves for the notebook. That's when I heard footsteps above me. I froze. Heavy footsteps. More than one person. Then Trevor's voice echoed faintly through the barn. I'm telling you, she came here. Vanessa answered immediately. Find the damn hatch. Ice flooded my veins. They knew, or at least suspected.
I killed my flashlight instantly. Darkness swallowed the room. Above me, wood scraped loudly. They moved the workbench, Trevor shouted. A loud metallic clang followed.
The hatch. Oh, God. I backed silently toward the shelves while panic exploded inside my chest. Then I noticed something else, hidden beside the safe. A shotgun. Dad's old Remington. My hands trembled grabbing it. I hated guns. Dad only used it for coyotes near the property years ago. Above me, the hatch screeched open. Light poured down the staircase. Trevor started descending first. "Ella," he called mockingly. "You down here, broke girl?" Vanessa followed behind him. And then she said something that made my blood run cold. I knew Harold hid it here. Harold. Not Dad. Not your father. Harold. Like he was just some idiot she tolerated. Trevor whistled when he saw the underground room. Well, damn. Vanessa's eyes locked instantly onto the safe. Not shocked. Not confused. Hungry. She stepped forward slowly, like she'd been searching for treasure her entire life. I knew that dying old bastard was hiding money from me. My grip tightened on the shotgun. Then Trevor spotted movement in the corner. Me. His smile vanished instantly. "Well," he said quietly, "there she is." Vanessa turned toward me. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then her entire personality changed. Fake softness, manipulation. "Ella," she said gently, "sweetheart, we can discuss this rationally." I almost laughed. 5 hours ago, she locked me out of my own home. Now suddenly I was sweetheart again? "You lied about the will," I said. Vanessa's expression hardened immediately. "Your father lied first." Trevor stepped lower down the stairs. "You should hand over whatever papers you found." I raised the shotgun shakily. "Stop moving." Trevor actually laughed. "You don't even know how to use that." He was right, which made it worse, because desperate people are unpredictable. Vanessa slowly looked around the room again. Then her eyes landed on the binder in my hand. And suddenly, she smiled. A real smile. Not fake grief, not fake kindness. This one looked victorious. "You opened the wrong binder first," she whispered. My stomach dropped, because behind her, Trevor was already reaching for the safe handle. "Don't touch that!" I shouted. Too late. Trevor grabbed the safe handle and yanked. Nothing happened. He frowned. "It's locked." Vanessa looked irritated. Obviously. Then she turned back toward me calmly. "Your father always loved games." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Where's the combination?" "I don't know." "That binder should have contained instructions. It contained proof Dad didn't trust you." Her jaw tightened instantly. For the first time, the polished mask cracked. "You ungrateful little brat." There it was. The real Vanessa. Not grieving widow Vanessa. Not classy hostess Vanessa. The woman Dad secretly warned me about. Trevor rattled the safe harder. "Mom, hurry up!" Mom. Funny how he suddenly sounded nervous now. Vanessa stepped closer to me carefully. "Ella, listen to me." Her voice softened again. "Your father hid assets illegally during the marriage. Half of everything here belongs to me." I laughed bitterly. "You locked me out hours after his funeral. And you think that justifies stealing?" The word stealing nearly made me choke. "You spent years manipulating a dying man." Her expression went cold.
You have absolutely no idea what your father was really like. That stopped me. Not because I believed her, because of how fast she said it. Like she'd waited years to unload something. Then Trevor suddenly swore loudly behind her. I got it open! Both of us snapped toward the safe. The heavy door creaked slowly outward. Vanessa rushed over instantly. And then she froze. No money. No gold. No stacks of cash. Just folders. Dozens of folders. Trevor looked confused. What is this? Vanessa grabbed papers frantically. The color drained from her face, page by page. Then she whispered one word. No. I lowered the shotgun slightly. What is it? She ignored me completely. Her hands started shaking violently. Trevor snatched one file from her. Then his face changed too. Mom? I stepped closer carefully and pulled one document free. My heart nearly stopped. Fraud investigations, fake business accounts, illegal transfers, forged signatures. Years of financial crimes connected directly to Vanessa and Trevor. I looked at them slowly. Dad knew everything. Every stolen dollar, every lie, every scam. The safe wasn't hiding money. It was hiding evidence. Vanessa suddenly lunged toward me. Give me that! I stumbled backward, clutching the papers. Trevor grabbed more files desperately. We have to burn this! That's when I noticed another envelope inside the safe. Smaller, clean white paper. My name written across the front again. I opened it carefully. Ella, if Vanessa finds this before you do, then I failed you. Inside these files is enough evidence to send both Vanessa and Trevor to prison. Walter Green already has copies.
By the time you read this, he has likely contacted authorities. I wanted revenge once, but in the end, I realized something more important. Freedom. You spent too many years believing you were weak because other people failed you. You're not weak. You never were. One final thing. The barn itself was purchased under your name 5 years ago. Check the final folder. Love always, Dad. My vision blurred instantly. I opened the last folder. Property records, oil rights contracts, corporate agreements. Then the number at the bottom punched the air from my lungs. Dad's worthless barn sat on land recently approved for commercial development. Estimated value? $3.8 million. Trevor looked like he might vomit. Vanessa looked worse, because she finally understood. Dad outplayed her completely. She got the house, but the land beneath the barn was worth almost everything. And legally, it belonged only to me. Outside, distant sirens suddenly echoed through the night. Vanessa's face went white. No. Trevor panicked instantly. Mom, what do we do? But Vanessa already knew. There was nothing left to do. Dad had prepared everything before he died. The evidence, the accounts, the land, even the lawyer. He knew exactly who they were, and he made sure they lost everything trying to take everything from me. As police lights flashed through cracks in the barn walls, I finally felt something I hadn't felt in years. Safe. Not because of the money, not because Vanessa got caught, but because my father never stopped loving me, even at the very end. Vanessa turned toward me one last time as officers stormed downstairs. Her face twisted with hatred. This is your fault! I looked her straight in the eyes. No, I said quietly. It's yours.
If this story shocked you, hit like and subscribe for more unbelievable family drama stories with twists you'll never see coming.